Who can forget Apolo Ohno's historic run at 3 Olympic Winter Games? The speed skater picked up 8 medals in his career, making him the most decorated US Winter Olympian ever. And now he's out with a new book called Hard Pivot. It is remarkable. Apolo joins us live. Yes. Hey, great to see you. Glad that you're here. So what were your overall impressions about the Olympics? Was it, in your opinion, overall a success or a failure?
Well, the games were a success. I think that we would obviously like to have seen many more medals. I think that we would love to have seen fans and family in the audience and in the stadiums. So from that perspective, it was a very different games, not unlike what we saw in Tokyo. And this is a different time. There's obviously a lot of geopolitical tension between the US and China.
Yes.
And just the coverage is challenging because of the time zone. So there's a lot of these kind of unforeseen circumstances and things outside the control that I think would have definitely made the games much different. I know firsthand when you walk into the opening ceremony and there's thousands of people cheering and there, it feels different. And so when you have a muted games like we saw, it doesn't detract away from the performance of the athletes because we know how badly they've trained and how much they want to have and achieve the results that they're seeking. But I think overall from an experiential component, we at home, I don't know if we felt the same type of kind of unification and camaraderie and solidarity that we typically have associated with these types of Olympics. So there was a change. I think that's very clear.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm curious, though, your opinion. You brought up the heightened political climate between China and the U.S. What is your thoughts, given the controversy over the Olympics being held in China?
Well, the games were chosen many, many years ago. So whenever the IOC decides to choose a location for these Olympic Games, I think idealistically, the idea is to have these athletes go, perform their best, not have politics involved, and not to be used as pawns in perhaps a greater game that happens. But if you go back into Olympic history, politics and sport have always been intertwined, even going back to Greek history. It's just a challenging time, right? There's no right, there's no wrong, there's many different types of opinions. It's hard to have kind of open, transparent conversations around what these things look like. At my perspective, because I came from the Olympic background, these are changing times and they're hard and the athletes have to adapt. We as fans and spectators have to adapt. And also the organizing committees have to adapt and take into account that sports at this moment in time is supposed to be the pause button in which allows us to come together and communicate and compete on this foreign soil that brings the world to kind of gasp with the amazing superhero-like qualities that these athletes possess.
Beautifully said.
Wow. My first question is, did you, Apolo, age at all? Oh, no, you didn't. Jeff dared me to say it.
Very nice.
There needs to be an Apolo Instagram filter.
He looks fantastic. Everyone's talking about it on YouTube.
He's going backwards.
You're going Paul Rudding. You're Paul Rudding is exactly right.
Benjamin Button.
This is the power of social. I've got so many filters on here. You don't even want to know what I would.
He's like, I'm not even Apolo Ohno.
Yeah, exactly.
I do want to ask you, sorry to switch from being hilarious to this. We saw the Russian coach, or the Russian Olympic Committee coach, let's be honest, be very hard on 15-year-old figure skater Kamila Valieva after she fell. Do you think coaches are too tough on young athletes? And did you have a similar experience because you were young, a young speed skater, and we've had this discussion on and on. We'd love your thoughts on this.
I was 14 years old when I made my first team. I mean, that entire circumstance is really sad, right? You've got a 15-year-old girl who has a teddy bear, who is having the world watch and place these pressures, and you've got media making opinions and exporting their belief on what should and shouldn't be done. It's just a really challenging situation. She's an incredible skater, beautiful, classic, the way that she skates. And, you know, I think also there's a cultural difference. Man, you guys want all the smoke with these hard questions.
Yeah. He said you were cute. Sorry. Interesting.
Well, you're doing a great job answering them. I do want to applaud you for that, Apolo. Yes.
And
Thank you.
I just have to get to your book because you are talking about something I feel like everybody is going to have to deal with at some point in their adult life from now going forward. And it's the difficult transition that you faced moving to the real world. First of all, is this something that a lot of Olympians face? And like, how would you tell people to get ready to transition and make that hard pivot into a different line of work?
I think hard pivot is a critical piece of change, but as we know, behavioral change is really challenging, right? That's why I've always said, like, January 1st New Year's resolutions are so hard to stick to, because it enacts change and discipline and things that are uncomfortable. I would say majority of Olympic athletes really struggle with transitioning from one identity that has been given to them and that they were told and gotten all these affirmations. This is what you're good at. This is what your purpose is. This is what we'll celebrate you for. And that's in the form of your parents, your loved ones, your community, the fans, the coaches. That was a great lap, Apollo. Good job. You're so good. And then when all that is done, those are guardrails. Those guardrails that we have maybe in your current career path, all of a sudden when you decide to do something different by force or by choice, they go flat. And then you no longer know, you don't have that same support system that's there to tell you that this is your purpose, to tell you this is why you're here on Earth. And sometimes it can feel very lonely, very cold, and very isolated. And so the book's intention is to let people know, one, they're not alone. Two, there is multiple paths to perceiving what these challenges and difficulties are and transforming them into opportunities for you to grow and hopefully realign with your true north and your purpose, which, you know, is hopefully the silver lining of COVID, right? There's tons and tons of trauma that all of us have faced over the past 2 years. But within that trauma is the silver lining to understand that we are going to embrace change, we're going to adapt to it, and we're going to move forward, hopefully, in a better version of ourselves than we are today. And that's really what
reinvent.
I love it. I love it.
2024.
Quite an inspirational book. Apollo, thank you so much for joining us. And to our viewers, Apollo's book, Hard Pivot, is out tomorrow. For details, go to apolloohno.com. We'll be right back.
We're sorry for Tori.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.